All right, bodybuilding fans, Bob Chick along with David Baye. We're here in Toronto backstage. Prejudging just concluded on the expo stage. David, it's a packed house out there, so I know Ron Hachey and his crew are very happy with the attendance here today and another full day tomorrow. But let's get into the prejudging call-outs as we saw it. Everything going down here except for Men's Open. That's going to be tonight, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But let's get through some stuff that we saw on stage today. Started things off with fitness.
Yeah, the fitness, they didn't do their routines, so it was just a two-piece round. I think that you're probably going to see Trish Warren as the favorite. Obviously only half of it's judged this morning. So as far as any of the other girls, not a lot of real big names. Again, I think when you see the routines tonight and you put everything together, probably going to see Trish Warren as a favorite. She looked fantastic as always. So barring, some sort of mistake.
Falling off the stage or something.
Yeah, something like that. You'll probably see her as a winner.
Well, we're going to see some great routines. The girls always electrifying the audience at these shows. That's why I love fitness so much. Moving into bikini, Ashley Kaltwasser, your reigning Olympia champ, back on the stage this time. A little upset there last week that we saw, but it looked like she was back in the lead this time here, and I don't see anybody beating her.
Yeah, she definitely looks better than she did in New York. I talked about New York, that it was hard to tell whether she was off her game, but she definitely looked better here. They had her called out at the final call out with Stephanie Mahoy. So look for those two to be the top two. Stephanie looks great, but I think we'll see Ashley back in first place again.
Well, some real good competition in the pro women's figure. You've seen Ann Titoni is certainly one of the favorites, always a pre-contest favorite. And Jennifer Strobo coming down, but a newcomer in the mix also got a lot of play out there.
Yeah, Sydney Gilson, I think it was. Sydney Gillen. Personally, I thought she should have been in that last call out with those other two. I would have liked to have seen her. For as small as Ann's waist is, I think hers was just as small. Wide back, really nice rounded delts. Wasn't quite in the same condition as we saw, especially Jennifer. I think Jennifer was probably in the best condition out of the three. But as far as the top two, it was between Jennifer and Ann. That's the way the call-outs work. It's a toss-up. It's really close. A lot of times we've seen Ann come out and kind of just shut the door on everybody. Ann's definitely improved from Dallas a few weeks ago, but I think, from the front, they both are very comparable to me. From the back, I think Jennifer's back might be just a little bit better than Ann's, but I think Ann's hamstrings and her glutes are better than Jennifer's, so it very much is a toss-up.
Well, that's going to come down to the finals tonight on stage. The judges will be judging in the confirmation round of scoring, so anything can happen there, but it looks like we got a tight one there going down to the finish. Women's physique was all over the place in terms of, it looked like the top three kind of established themselves, but anything from 4th to 9th, I mean, it looks like the judges are having a tough time. All the girls pretty equal in there, but some good physiques up in that top three, including Mindy O'Brien, who used to be on the Olympia stage in pro fitness, then switched over to physique, but she looked great.
Yeah, we didn't have any real big names in women's physique here today. The girl who got third in New York, Fabiola, hometown favorite, or at least from Canada. It's not Bollinger. I think after placing third in New York, everybody had kind of pegged her for the winner here. She dropped down pretty far. She's real muscular, and as we've talked about before, sometimes with these divisions, it's a lot of relative. If you're a real muscular girl and you're standing next to Juliana Malacarne,
right,
you're not going to necessarily look that way. But with this particular lineup, I would have thought she would have been higher. But I agree, Mindy O'Brien looked great. Some of the names that I'm not overly familiar with, but yeah, you're right. There wasn't a lot of. The physiques were kind of all over, smaller and lean, a little bit bigger and softer, so it'll be interesting to see the way the physique plays out.
Yeah, and our good friend Colette Nelson making her appearance, long-awaited debut in the women's physique, coming from the bodybuilding world, so she took it a notch down. She looked great, didn't get the first call out, but we'll be keeping our eyes on that as the finals unfold here tonight. Moving in, women's bodybuilding division, representing in big numbers here in Toronto. How'd you see it, David?
There's two that really stood out to me, and you'll see them in the center. It was boy, I'm gonna have.
We got cheats, buddy. We got cheat sheets,
and I'll get through it real quick.
Well, no Iris Kyle here at this one, so it was wide open for the girls. Because you talk about shutting the door, Iris is definitely a perennial when it comes to that, but they do have to face her, of course, at the Olympia.
Here we go. Simone Oliveira. I think she was in the middle at the end. Bigger girl, more muscular, in really good shape. But Alana Shipp, she was the girl that I had kind of picked, that the physique that I preferred, like a female like Dexter Jackson, just real small waist, real rounded muscle bellies. When you put her side by side, it kind of became an apples and oranges thing. They kept Simone in the middle, so you'll probably see her as the winner, but Alana Shipp looked fantastic as well.
Yes, I think both of them looked very good. It's going to be interesting to see kind of where the judges go with that. The men's 212, 28 competitors deep here, great competition, a couple of top names in there, and it looks like none of the top guys failed to deliver. All of them pretty much in the first call out. How'd you see the 212 going down?
You know, it was real interesting. Guy Cicherillo was probably not quite as dry as we've seen him in the past. Still, in my opinion, probably good enough to win. And Baye Edwards, pretty much the same as we saw him in Dallas. Raul Carrasco, didn't really see him on the radar. He was absolutely shredded, a little bit light in the leg department, especially standing next to some of the other guys. We saw Mark Dugdale in the top 5 and Marvin Ward. Marvin Ward, just, I mean, as much muscle as you could possibly pack on. I mean, the guy's like this tall. And he is just he's just absolutely jacked. And it was a good top 5. They moved the guys around a lot. You know, you had guys.
I was going to get into that, David. I mean, it's kind of an interesting call because head judge Steve Weinberger, you know, usually we kind of see the pattern. They're going to kind of put the best guys in the middle and kind of work your way out. Marvin Ward initially called into the middle, did a round, then he moved them out all the way to the end. Then I thought, well, okay, either he's winning and they just kind of got him out of the way. But then they went into kind of the next series of call-outs, and Marvin was still out there. So I'm like, all right, well, clearly they don't have him winning then. But then at the last call-out, he was back into the top 4 or 5.
Yeah, your top 5, again, the final call-out was, you know, Marvin, Mark, Gamboa, Raul, and Guy. But they put Raul in the middle and kept him there the whole time. Now, Raul's conditioning, I think, was the best out of the entire group. Mark Dugdale's conditioning was fantastic as well. You know, Mark's quads, which used to be kind of his signature thing, are downsized a little, but he still looked really good. Not quite what we used to see him, but, you know, good enough for top 5. But yeah, they were flip-flopping guys around, so I don't know if it was a matter of, you know, maybe they had Boye in first and they moved him all the way to the outside, kind of to compare some of the other guys, or what was going on. Raul Carrasco, again, conditioning was great, really light in the leg department, especially standing next to Guy. But yeah, you know, usually, like you said, usually you can kind of pick out what's going on by the call-outs. I have no idea what's going on.
Well, we're going to have some idea what's going on tonight at the finals. We're going to start things off a little different format here in Toronto this year. Men's prejudging for the Open tonight at 6. So we're going to see the guys on the main stage downstairs in the Bassett Theater, and then we'll be going right into the final. So the guys will have a little bit of a break in between, only a few hours before they're kind of back out for round 2. In this case, it would be the confirmation round of scoring. So we'll see how that unfolds, and we'll see how all the prejudging pans out tonight on the final stage. So we'll be coming back. Stay tuned, everybody. We got a play-by-play coming up tonight. We're here in Toronto. For David Baye, I'm Bob Chick.